What a trade we took today. It's going to be an exciting recap because this is my ideal price action. 15-minute retraces for the higher time frame, 4 hour. I mean, this was perfect. This was perfect, guys. 15-minute CISD internally. Let's bring up ES. I mean, you can see that we did sweep the high of the week, and that was kind of our signal. We had a bearish weekly cycle that we still had in play from, like when I mentioned our high that hadn't got taken yet over here, these highs that haven't got taken. So we have our weekly cycle in play. It's kind of just been lagging along, keeping previous week high intact and separating us from these premium targets, the daily target here, and then the OTE buy side liquidity. So what I was looking for today was initially longs to previous week high, which we kind of see we did on ES, but what I was looking for after our opening candle was completely different. I was just looking for shorts because at open, we can take off the noise on ES. I just want to show you the crime correlations or the SSMTs. So we had a daily right here. We can see XAMD on the day, on the 15-minute, very clearly, XAMD. And I'm going to pull up YM so I can show you my YM charting on the 15-minute as well. So, like I said, Asia sell side, AM. This was my signal that I was looking for longs, which ended up playing, but the actual move of the day was short. So longs played, that was our distribution that I thought we were gonna trade, and then our expansion ended up just being a retrace into the range. You can see that on YM clearly that we set up accumulation, manipulate the low, distribute higher, and then expand into the range. But this played out very differently on ES and NQ. So using YM, I thought that AMDX was the cycles for the day because of how price action was looking. This is how it was looking, and you cannot just determine the cycles based on how PA looks. Even though that this SMT is a daily cycle, it looks like AMDX, but in fact, ES and NQ were XAMD. That's how I read it. And for one, how I measure XAMD versus AMDX on the daily cycle is where is manipulation? Well, it's obviously if it's AMDX, and you'll know if it's AMDX because manipulation will be like literally in overnight session or something like that. And we'll just continue the range in New York. But XAMD is where manipulation, the timing for it is at open. So we have manipulation right here at like 9 o'clock. 9:30 is where technically we had manipulation, but this is accumulation to manipulate. You know, it bleeds over sometimes. Let's go to the 5 minute. We can get a clear view on this. Accumulation, manipulating. The SMTs that I were using were the daily cycle, which we had with high of the week. High of the week on ES got swept right here. This is high of the week. We can see it. Well, it's just white line. You can't. I cut off my screen because I have a bigger monitor, so you can't see this side. But this is high of the week. We swept it not at 1 in the morning, but at open, like 9. Where do we sweep it actually? Actually, we swept it at 9:05. We swept it at 9:05, and then we had a second manipulation at 9:30, and right there, 9:35 is when we're reversing, and I was looking. ES was late to the party on that 15-minute retrace because we stayed in this OTE range, which I was noticing, and I mean, look, it didn't. If you had stopped at the high, it wouldn't have stopped you up, but it would have gotten real close. So that isn't some fun price action I want to see. So when I looked at NQ, MNQ, I saw that okay, we have two high time frame, three high time frame crag correlations. On the low, we have one DC. That's about it. That's really all we have. And we have Asia sell side, and in our discount of our range, we have a 6 hour gap, which I noted will be discount to get traded into, which is where I had my exit price right here. I actually could have exited based on time, which is the 90-minute candle closing. It closed a little bit below there, but I mean my close was right here. Second 90-minute candle, you could have gone to discount liquidity, and I mentioned this 4 hour gap actually yesterday that we should have hit as a target, and we hit it today, and that was kind of our holy crap, we actually went much, much lower than that. But initially, that was kind of our low that we made in our first two 90-minute cycles before pushing lower. You can see that we kind of just stalled here. 10 a.m. I actually really like how 10 a.m. move. Sorry, not 10 a.m. 10:30. 10:30, and this is our 90-minute. Sorry, our 6 hour gap. 10:30, completely rejected price, all the way down. Immediately after 10 a.m. 10:30, our drawn liquidity was hit, which would be these lows. This is discount low. Anything lower than that then is less than probable because it's like 90% of the range. Like I said, 80% of the range is what we retrace to. 90% is always a safe stop. especially for high time frame ranges. Like this is 90% of the range, and that is safe stop. So these were the lows I was looking for. Also the 4 hour gap. Also very near to it was the 6 hour gap, which was my target because I thought it would get hit sooner and it would take longer to hit these lower targets, which didn't take that much longer. It was just another cycle that I had to wait. But I just wanted to exit at that price because I was in good profit, and I don't know if the Tradeify accounts have a maximum daily amount you can make because if there's like a consistency rule. I pray that there's not because that would totally suck. But 10 a.m. How I saw 10 a.m. easily, I was looking for manipulation. You can see our range for 9:30 is in the premium for our high. So the OTE is safe, and like I said, ES was just kind of up here trading in it already. So I knew ES was in the area too short, and because I saw this candle, this immediate long ass candle to our drawn liquidity, I just shorted there because that's a good fill price for the stop I wanted to have, which was where this order block was. Because this is a propulsion block. Off market open, we have a order block first. Okay, so first 5 minute candle is created and we have our order block. I should not be trading the first 4 minutes of market open because the first 5 minute candle tells you a lot and sets you up for the second 5 minute to enter on. So first 5 minutes of market open is where we created our order block, then propulsion block. So conveniently, with the 4 hour inversed fair value gap that we created to create our 15 minute market structure shift, CISD, because this 4 hour got inversed, what I'm looking for this is a 4 hour inversion is a big thing. 4 hour inversion means that gaps are changing structure. So 4 hour, 1 hour time frame alignments, you see that we tapped barely into this fair value gap right up here. Just barely tapped into it. And that was all we needed, literally, to send us lower off the SMT that we had. So that was why I saw shorts for the 15 minute. And if we go down, because I knew we were trading on the 4 hour, really, really well. And that's why I had it at CE because it shouldn't come back above CE. I also want to talk about the losses that I took because when I take losses, and it's these kind of losses that I need to avoid more because they do stack up. But if you look at the risk management on this, I probably lost $250 on these two trades. This was $50. It was literally closed it where I opened it. $50, $200. When I lose, it's very small amounts that I do for gambling, like quote unquote gambling trades, which all honesty, this is terrible. This is a terrible trade. You should never take this. I just kind of took it because I was genuinely just high off goofballs on the market. Or ICT calls it being pip drunk. I literally did not see what was happening. I was just longing it because I saw something and it happened yesterday, so I did it because I saw it yesterday. And that's just that's the most pattern thinking you could do. And so after that, I need to calm down. I took a break. I watched and I knew these relative lows after it was created was going to be a drawn liquidity for our 15-minute retrace. After that, I put the fib on, saw, like we said, the OTE showed us where our discount is for 10 a.m. manipulation. I saw reversing. I didn't want a long. I knew where it was going, too short. After I saw that, then I immediately got in the position because that was technically the best point of reversal. But ideally, if you wanted to wait for the highest probability entry, you would wait until this SMT right here, which is at 1017. Or sorry, 1017. Yeah, it would be 1017. I mean, you could enter earlier, but there was no SMT. It would just be off of PO3, and that's completely fine. I mean, we have it right here. This great entry with the order block, inversion for value gap, 15-minute. The quadrants is what I use today. I use the 15-minute quadrants, CE along with I'll put it on boldly so you can see, with the 4 hour CE. So true month open is right here. CE, I just mention it because it's opened and it was this week that it opened, so it has significance on the week. True month open, CE of the 15-minute, that is also why I thought that this high would be aggressive for reversal. That's mainly the reason. The 15-minute quadrants, the 5 minutes was just showing that we wanted to retrace to the highest time frame gap, which is right here. The highest time frame gap is, it's the 5 minute, the highest one above that we have multiple of. There's 3 5-minute gaps, but this is a 15-minute gap. So we were waiting for this one to get closed. And look how nice that closes. Once that closed, you could have held this to literally Asia low, or not Asia low, this low, the discount lows, relative sell side right here. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like I said, it hit after 10:30, like I think in that next expansion cycle, which is like 20 minutes. So that was a great trade to take. If you were in it later, not at the top, I applaud you because that would have been a technically better entry to take. That is all for today. Pretty simple day, but really you just had to be patient because all that there was, some people probably took longs off of this. Like, let's be honest. Some people took longs, but I wouldn't want to be in there. You could map it out with cycles to see what would happen on PM, but this was a great move. And usually, actually, I do want to mention when we do have great moves in the AM session, we do tend to make a great move to the upside of our like CE, OTE range of the day, which is right here. So we're about at C. This is buy side liquidity, actually. It's convenient. So this high is buy side liquidity. We can take out this Asia. We just took out internal buy side. So this, do we have any SMTs at this low? No. Do we have any PSPs? We do. We have 15-minute PSP, which is this candle shaded differently, and TPD because the bodies right here are actually different. These second and third candle bodies. Just to mention what a TPD is, right? It's a 3-candle pattern, and you're looking at how the bodies are closing. See how that first body is right equal to the second right there, and on NQ it's not. You see that between ES and NQ? So those are the things I'm looking for, TPDs, signs of reversal that aren't SMTs, but just less probable. Less probable. It will move the market, guaranteed it will move it, but you don't really know if it's like a certain move or not until it basically happens or it's like halfway through happening. That's just kind of how it is. Okay, we've retraced a lot on ES. This is what I wanted to tell you, right? Even though ES is like doing the most for movement, we retraced to OTE, and in fact, the highest high and the lowest low after 10 a.m. is your drawn liquidity. So after the highest high after 10 a.m. and the lowest low after 10 a.m. are draws and liquidity, which would be literally, okay, the high right there, and then 10 a.m., this is going to be your buy side liquidity, which is basically at, or not basically at 0.705, but it's close. It's in that range, and so that's what I'm expecting if we're going to move up into OT. This is going to be our target, the highest high after 10 a.m. And I use this all the time. Highest high after 10 a.m., lowest low after 10 a.m. That's really, like, those are high time frame targets for the day. For intraday movement, that will be traded to when you get like a really good movement through the day and you're creating like an entire market maker model, either the buy side in the morning, sell side in the afternoon, or the sell side in the morning like we had today, and the buy side in the afternoon. So I'm going to leave you with that. There's a lot of information. I hope you took it in because there's some sauce. There's some sauce in this this price action today that was easily able to be analyzed. Like I said, I see this trade happen so many times. I love taking it, and so I was confident in the 15-minute CISD and 15-minute candles sending us to our high time frame drawn liquidity. So I will leave you with that, and I will see you guys in the next video.